Hi players, Dzień dobry from Wrocław. My name is Asaf and welcome to my channel Easy Board Games. Today I have the pleasure of presenting to you an explanatory playthrough for Sky Empire that was designed by Preben Moller and published by Greymarsh Games. Before getting started, I just want to tell you that this is a prototype, and even though it looks absolutely stunning on the table, it is still a prototype and some components are still a subject for change. Sky Empire is going to be on gamefound at the beginning of 2026, and I'm going to, of course, attach a link down below in the description. Ready to see how it goes? Let's get to it. Alright guys, so I've obviously skipped setup, but let's go over what we can see right now on your screen. Starting of course with the main map, that is a layout that was recommended for 2 players if this is one of your first games. On the map we see that we have the orange player and also the purple player. Their home bases are on the opposite sides of the map. On each one of the other tiles besides the home and the center, we're going to have an exploration token. We have some sentinel buildings. And also at the center, we have a yellow crystal. Now, obviously, this is like a white transparent crystal, but as I've said before, this is just a prototype. So for now, let's all imagine that this is a yellow crystal. Next to the map, we have the council board, and also the layout of the council board is already something that has changed. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. And I have placed randomly the 6 council tiles on them. Between the map and the board, we have some exploration cards, action cards, yellow crystal mission cards, and we have some sentinel components like the control cards, blueprints, and their miniatures. On the other side, we can see some resources that I'm really not going to try and pronounce. We're just going to call them by their color. We have some candle tokens, that is the main currency that we have in Sky Empire. The 4 crystals that are of course essential to winning the game. And we have 2 types of developments. One of them is ancient and the other one is sentinel. Now off camera, and this is going to mostly stay like that during this video, I have placed the different blueprints of the different airships that we might acquire during the game. For each player, the setup is going to be pretty much the same. What we have here is the player board, and we have here different factions that are asymmetrical, so each type of faction is going to operate a little bit differently. We're going to have the 2 Dopplers for that faction with a color matching ring attached to each one of those. Also, we are starting with 100 candles. I have randomly chosen that the purple player is going to be the first player. Christos, if you're watching, this is for you. And for the other components, we have the 2 airships that this specific faction is going to start with. We have all the development tiles that are separated into 4 different categories, some initiative tokens. Each faction is going to start with 4, and the different buildings that we might build during the game. And in between the factions, I have just placed some combat dice, but this is a little bit more for me than for you. In Sky Empire, we're going to play a number of rounds, up to 10 rounds actually, and in each round we're going to have a few phases. The first phase is the event phase, where we're going to draw the top event card and we're going to resolve it. We have 3 sections there. One is for the weather, another is for the council, and the third one is for the sentinels. After we have finished that, we're going to move to the second phase. That is the Committing Dopplers phase, where each player, starting with the first player and going clockwise, is going to take one of their Dopplers and then commit them either to the council board, that means to place it on one of the tiles that we have here, either on the primary effect or on the secondary effect, and the other option is to commit the Doppler to the board, and that means to place your Doppler on a tile that you're controlling. After all players have finished, we're going to move on to the action phase, where again the first player is going to start resolving their action, and you'll be able to choose one of 4 actions, either a tactical action or a council action, a component action, or to pass when you don't want to perform any more actions. After all players have passed, we're going to go on to the cleanup phase, which is where we're going to remove all the Dopplers back to our player board. Also, we're going to remove all the initiative tokens from the map, and we're going to have some sort of a cool thing over here on the console board, and of course we're going to see it a little bit later. The goal in Sky Empire is to have one of each crystal, that means green, blue, yellow, and red, that are going to be placed on your player board. Once acquired, they cannot be lost. And after you have achieved that, you will need to activate a tile with a monolith, which is one of the symbols that we can see here. On this map, we have this tile and this one. and of course by the end of this turn controlling this tile, and that will end the game and that player is going to be the winner. If after 10 rounds, and that means that we have resolved already 10 event cards, still no player has won the game, then the player that has the most crystals is going to be the winner, and we have a short list of some tiebreakers if we actually have this case of a tie. And with that, you guys, I think that we are ready to start resolving the first round. So again, let's start by drawing an event card. So the event card that I have drawn is this one, and let's start going one by one and resolving everything. The weather on Duphios is quiet and calm today. Nothing happens. So far, so good. Then we're going to have the council effect. The council supports heavy mining to bolster armament production. The effect is at the end of the cleanup phase, each mine is activated to produce minerals. And then we're going to have the sentinels. The sentinels are advancing. Move each sentinel airship according to their control cards. Resolve any combats after all movement is completed. Now the thing is, as you already guessed it, we still don't have sentinels on the map. We only have the sentinel buildings. When that happens, what we will need to do is to take the topmost sentinel control card and basically activate it, and that means that we're going to spawn a sentinel. Now each sentinel control card actually corresponds to a different sentinel that is going to spawn on the map. So what we're going to do right now is to roll just a d6, and then that will tell us where it is going to be spawned. Of course, if we do not have that value on the map, we'll just re-roll the die. So if you will allow me, let's just assume, if that's okay with you, that I have actually rolled the number 1. That means that I'm going to spawn the first sentinel that is called Ruma right over here. As you can see, we have the number 1. So now what we're going to do is to take this control card, we're going to place it in proximity to the board. For now, I'm just going to place it over here. It's not its natural location, but I think it's going to be the most comfortable. Then we're going to take also this blueprint card, we're going to place it right next to it, and we're going to take the miniature that corresponds to that sentinel, and we're going to place it over here, again, since this is the tile where it was spawned. Now going back to the council effect, since this is something we'll need to resolve at the end of cleanup, for now also I'm going to place it over here, just so I will not forget later to actually resolve it. Now that we have finished the event phase, we're going to move on to committing the Dopplers phase. Without going too much right now into details, let me just show you how a little bit it works. So the purple player, again, the first player is going to take one of their Dopplers, and they can decide if they're going to commit to the board or to the council board. I think that what they would like to do is to place it on the council board. They're going to choose this tile and they're going to place it on the primary location. Now, in general, in each one of these primary locations, besides this one because nobody can enter over here with their Doppler, you can have only one Doppler that is occupying the primary location on each one of these tiles. Later, other players can place their Dopplers in the secondary location, and that can be as many Dopplers as someone would like. Of course, one faction can't have more than one Doppler on the same tile. Now we're going to go to the orange player. They're going to take also one of their Dopplers, and they're actually going to commit it right over here to their board. Going back to the purple player, they're going to commit their second Doppler also to the council board, but they're going to place it right now in this location. Now the orange player needs to commit their last Doppler as well, and I think, you know what, that they're actually going to go and place it again on the board, committing it a second time. Now that we have finished with that, we're going to move on to the action phase, and the purple player, again, Christos, that is you, they're going to start resolving their actions. So let's start with something easy. The purple player is going to activate the council board, this Doppler over here. So now what happens is that they're going to remove the Doppler to this section, and in the new layout already that we have with the council board, actually this part is going to be above it, so it's going to be a little bit easier to understand what's going on, because the Doppler that is receiving this bonus is only the Doppler that was placed on the primary location. So this bonus is something that we can take even before taking the action itself. Let's immediately take 10 candles. This is what we have here. Also, we're going to take one action card. And on top of that, we're going to take one initiative token from our supply and place it on our board. The 10 candles also are going to come over here. And the action card that I have drawn is this one that is called Crystal Mission. Play as an action. So you remember now that this is what we just talked about. Then we're going to draw one yellow Crystal Mission card, or we're going to receive 25 candles. For now, this is of course hidden information from the other players, but just for the sake of this teach, we're going to place it just like this. Now we're going to resolve the main effect that we have here, and that is to gain one development, and then we can spend 25 candles in order to gain one more development. So let's take one moment to talk about the development tiles. As I've said before, we have 4 types of developments. Each one is going to lead us to a different direction. Now the thing is that once you are committed to one of these ways, that means that you have placed the first development tile on your board, this column cannot be changed later to a different development type. So let's take an example. Again, we can take one development. So I think we're going to go for construction 1. We're going to place this tile over here. Also, because of the effect of it, we're going to take 2 green resources and we're going to place it on the tile. Now we're going to pay 25 candles in order to have another one. So again, I can commit already to another type of development, but instead of doing that, we're going to again go for construction. So that is going to be now construction 2. We'll place it over here, and with the effect of the tile, we're going to take 2 yellow resources and we're going to place them here. In general, these resources, these tiles that we just placed here, mean that when we are building, we can use these resources, but only for the construction. If I'm going to produce ships or something like that, I will not be able to use this. With that, we have finished the first action of the purple player, and we're going to move on to the orange player. The orange player now would like to play a tactical action. For that, we also have a small procedure. So the first thing that is completely mandatory is to activate a tile. In order to activate a tile, what we need to do is to take an initiative marker and we're going to place it on one of the tiles. So if we want to explore actually right now, we're going to place it on an adjacent tile, but pay attention that I can only place it on an adjacent tile because the speed of the airships that I have now is only 1, so I cannot go more than that. Let's see how it actually works. So I'm going to place this one here. Then I need to commit airships. That means that I'm going to choose how many of the airships I would like to move over here. I think I'm going to move only one of them, and because the Zumbar faction actually is one of these exploration factions, it's going to be quite profitable for us. So I think we're going to move the Aero Nautilus, and we're going to take one Doppler with us. That is possible because the airships can carry Dopplers with them. The next step is combat, but since we don't have here units of the Sentinel or another faction or military buildings, we don't have here combat, and we're going to skip that step. Then we have exploration. So now we're going to resolve it, and because we have an exploration token on this tile, we're going to remove it. Don't throw it back to the supply because this is another currency that we'll be able to use for different effects and even trading with other players. We're going to place it over here, and now let's check out the effect that we have with the Aero Nautilus that says gain 5 candles when removing an exploration token. Great, so 5 candles is going to go to the orange player. And now what we're going to do in a normal case is to draw an exploration card of the same type of a tile that we have here. So here we can see we have this type. That means that we're going to draw one exploration card from here, but I want to show you another map bonus that we have with this faction. When removing an exploration token from the map, you may reveal 3 exploration cards, pick one to resolve and discard the rest. That is pretty sweet. So we're going to draw not one card, we're going to draw 3 cards, and let's see how we're going to resolve it. Now in general, when we're looking at one of these cards, we can see that we have a top, middle, and bottom effect. In a normal exploration, without a Doppler, we can choose either the top effect or the middle effect. And then if we actually did the exploration with a Doppler, we can also gain the bottom effect. Of course, it's up to you, you don't always have to receive it, but so far I always took it. From the 3 cards that I have over here, I think that I'm going to take this one that is called Ancient Fragments. So the other 2 cards I can already discard. And here it says that I can either gain the tile resources, that means this red gas, or I can gain the Ancient Sky Tower, maximum 1 per player. Since building this tower is one of the ways that we have in order to receive the blue crystal, I think that I'm going to do just that. That means that I'm going to take this card of blueprints of the Ancient Tower, of course, as you can see here, and I'm going to place it in my possession. Later, in order to build it, I will need this type of resources. So just for now, let's place it over here. Then, because we have moved with our Doppler, we can return the initiative token we have placed on this tile to your supply. That is actually pretty sweet, because that will allow me to remove this token back to the supply, but that means that we can later again activate this tile or even move with these units again, because this tile right now doesn't have an initiative token. Don't worry, we'll see an example in a few more minutes. Now that I finished with this card, I can simply place it over here. For building constructions, of course, we need to have different resources, but for the gas farm and for the mine, we can actually pay with candles, but I think that right now they would not like to perform any of those. That was the action of the orange player, and we're going to go back to the purple player. The next action of the purple player will be again to resolve the council board. So again, they're going to take the action that we have here. Let's start with taking this bonus. So that is 10 candles and also the initiative token. And the effect that we have here is to gain 3 initiative tokens. That is amazing. So 1, 2, 3. Going to go back over here, and on top of that we can see that now we can buy for 10 candles up to 7 initiative tokens. So just to show you how it works, I think that we're going to spend now only 20 candles in order to have 2 more initiative tokens. So now we have a really nice pile of initiative tokens. That finishes the turn of the purple player, and we're going to go back to the orange player. The orange player now is again going to take a tactical action, so they're going to activate another tile. Let's take initiative token, and we're going to place it now here. Now we're going to perform exactly what we've seen before, so let's move to this location. We don't have here combat. We're going to remove now this exploration token, place it in our supply, and also because we again moved with the same airship, we're going to take again 5 candles. And again, we're going to draw 3 of these exploration cards and choose one of them. From the 3 cards that I have drawn, we're going to use this one that is called Rich Gas Formation. So we can either spawn 1 new resource here, or we can gain 2 exploration tokens, and because we moved here with our Doppler, we're going to on top of that gain another red resource. So that means we're going to take it from the supply and place it right over here. And to be honest with you guys, this is a little bit tricky, because in order for the orange faction to achieve their green crystal, they will need to have 10 exploration tokens. So having 2 more is quite a lot, but also I think that for the sake of the teach, I'm going to go with the first effect, and that means that we're going to spawn here another resource token. What does it mean? We're going to take 1 of this and we're going to place it over here. So later, if we're going to have here a gas farm, that basically means a structure that allows us to harvest the resources from here, we're going to have already 2. Pay attention that in any case, we cannot have more than 2 resources on a tile. With that, we're going to discard all of the cards right over here. Now, after we finished with the exploration, what we can do is again building activation. We have none of those, but when we're going for the building construction, there is definitely something that they would like to do there, because now it's going to make a little bit more sense for them. They would like to build a gas farm that costs them either 2 green resources or 50 candles. I think that right now they're pretty good with candles, so they're going to pay 50 in order to take one of their gas farm buildings and place it just like this. Obviously, right now it's not going to produce anything because the construct buildings goes after the building's activation. And we're going to go back to the purple player. The purple player is going to start activating their airships, of course. So let's take one of these initiative tokens and we're going to start exploring here. So we can choose any one of the ships, but right now it doesn't really matter which one. So let's just move the Dreamcatcher to this tile. Now, of course, we don't have here combat again, so we're simply going to explore. We can remove this token and place it here, and we can draw one of the exploration cards that correspond to that symbol. That means the mountains. So now we're going to take only one, right? We're already playing with a different player, and let's see what do we have here. This card that is called Magnorium Deposit says that we can either spawn a resource, just like we've seen before with the orange player, or gain one of these resources. I think that we're going to again spawn one of these resources, so let's place this token right over here. The purple player in the construct building step would like to construct a mine. A mine costs us 2 green resources, so that means, if you remember, thanks to this development, that we can spend these 2 green resources right from here and then take one of the mines and place them on this tile. And we're going to move back to the orange player. The next action of the orange player is again a tactical action. We're going to take one of their initiative markers and we're going to place it over here in order to move now the Cloud Chaser alongside their Doppler. Again, we don't have here any type of combat. We're going to remove this exploration token, and here on the Cloud Chaser it says, when removing an exploration token from a tile, gain any one resource present on this tile. Obviously we have here only green resources, so we're going to take 1 green resource from the supply, and of course we're going to resolve exploration. So again, because we're here with a Doppler, we're going to take 3 exploration cards. From all the 3 cards that were drawn, I have decided to take this one that is called Ancient Knowledge. So we're going to use the middle effect that will allow the orange player to take 1 green resource into their supply. And on top of that, again, because we're there with a Doppler, we're going to remove the initiative marker from this tile and place it back into our supply. Now, before I'm forgetting, the orange player would like actually to construct their building, so they would like to construct their mine. We're going to take these 2 resources, we're going to place them back in the supply, then we're going to take one of their mines and we're going to place it over here. Finishing with that, we're going to go back to the purple player. The purple player is going to take, of course, a tactical action, so let's take one of these initiative tokens, and I think they're going to move right now to this tile. So let's place this token over here. We're going to move their airship there. Now we're going to resolve the exploration, so let's remove this one back to the player board, and we're going to draw one of the exploration cards. So let's see what we have here. And we have a card that is called Ancient Fragments. So we can either gain an Ancient Sky Tower blueprints, just like we've seen before, or gain these tile resources. And because we're not there with a Doppler, we're not going to resolve the effect that we have below. I think that they're going to go for the tiles resources. So we're going to take 2 of these gas resources and we're going to place them here. Now on top of that, I want to show you a map bonus that we have with this faction. At the end of the exploration step, you may discard 2 exploration tokens to equip a development. This may be done any number of times if you have enough exploration tokens. So I think there's no question about that. Let's take both of these tokens, put them back in the supply of tokens. It's going to be off camera with your permission. And now we can equip another development. I think what they would like to do is to go to warfare. So we're going to take this token right over here, equip it at the top of the column, and that means that right now we have committed to 2 types of developments. We will not be able to equip their other type of developments. And with that, we're going to take actually 5 red resources, but that will of course be only for the use of building airships. With that, we have finished with the purple player and we're going to go back to the orange player. The orange player still has a possibility to perform movement, so what they're going to do is to take this token, place it over here, again perform this movement. There is no combat, we're going to take this exploration token. That will allow them to take again one of these resources. We don't have here a lot of options, so we're simply going to take the green resource into their supply, and we're going to resolve the exploration. And from the 3 cards that I have drawn, the orange player is going to go with this one that is called Ancient Wreckage. So we can choose between the top and the middle. I think that we're going to receive the Void's Destroyer blueprint. And on top of that, we're going to take also 1 green resource. Now, before I'm getting this blueprint, let's go one moment to already construction. So what they would like to do is to get rid of both of these green resources in order to build there another mine. So we're going to take this miniature and we're going to place it over here. Now we're looking at all the blueprints of the different ships that we have. So we're going to go specifically to the section of destroyers. This one we're going to take and we're going to simply place it next to the orange player playing area. Now that we have finished with the orange player, let's go back to the purple player, but they don't have anything else that they would like to do, so they're going to pass. And what do you know, the orange player would like to pass as well. So after finishing the action phase, we're going to go to the cleanup phase. With the cleanup, we're going to start by removing all the Dopplers that we have on the map back to their corresponding player board. So orange goes to orange, of course. Then we're going to remove all the initiative tokens from the map to the supply of the corresponding player. Now that we're going to resolve the council board cleanup, we have here something quite nice. So we're going to start from right to left, and we're going to place in these spaces the tiles according to how many players use those tiles. So now we have only 2 players. It's not going to be a crazy work, but it's going to really add another layer of strategy later on. Let me show you the example. So going from the right to left, this tile was chosen 1 time. We're going to place it over here. Then this tile was chosen 1 time. We're going to place it here. The next tile was chosen 0 times, we're going to place it here, and then this one on top of it, and so on. Now we can remove the 2 Dopplers of the purple player back to their player board, and let's see how we're going to continue resolving the cleanup for the council board. So again, going from right to left, this is going to be the first tile, then the second one, third and fourth, and then this is going to be the 5th and the 6th tile that we're going to place here. So you can see how the council board is going to change from one round to another, and that is going to have a lot of impact because we do have these nice bonuses that the different players will be able to take if they have chosen the primary action on one of these council board tiles. Now that we're at the end of the cleanup phase, let's not forget this event card that we draw at the beginning of the round. And it says at the end of the cleanup phase, each mine is activated to produce minerals. So that means, let's start with the purple player, that they're going to take 2 yellow resources. For the orange player, it's going to be actually 4 green resources. So not so bad to have so many resources only after 1 round. And with that, we have finished the cleanup phase, and we're going to move on to a second round. Now, you might ask yourself, how come the first player token didn't move on to the next player? And that is because it's not the way it works in this game. So in order to pass the first player token to another player, actually we have different effects that might trigger that. One of them is actually right over here on the console board, but it can be triggered by different things. So the purple player is the one that is staying the first player for the next round. So again, let's draw an event card and see what we have on it. Volatile gas clouds are exploding. The shield value of all player-controlled airships is reduced by 1. Okay, that's a little bit brutal, but nothing to do, that's the weather, you guys. So we're going to take the die that correspond to the shield and we're going to reduce its value by 1. So this is going to be 1, also this is going to be 1, and of course I'm going to do the same thing for the orange player. Then for the council, at the end of the cleanup phase, each gas farm is activated to produce gas. So just like we've seen before, but of course with a gas farm and not with a mine. Then for the sentinels, the shield value of all sentinel airships is reduced by 2. So now that we're going back to this card over here, and I forgot to actually place some dice over there, their shields are going to go from 2 to actually 0. So maybe it was a little bit planned. Yeah, let's say that it was planned that I didn't place any die over here, but here of course the structure, and that means the HP of that ship is going to remain 3. And we're going to leave this card just like we did in the last round over here, you know, just to make sure that we're not forgetting anything. Moving on to the next phase, that is the committing Dopplers. So the purple player is going to start and they're going to place their Doppler right over here. Then the orange player is actually in a very dire need of initiative markers. So they're going to do what we've seen last time with the purple player and going to place it over here. Then the next thing that the purple player is going to do is to place their Doppler, I think, in this position. And the orange player is going to place their Doppler right over here. Now we finished with committing Dopplers, so we're going to move on to the action phase. The first action that the purple player would like to do is actually to resolve the action card that they had in the last round. This card is going to allow them to either draw one yellow crystal mission or to gain 25 candles. I think they would prefer to actually draw one of these mission cards, so this card we can already discard. This card states that play on your turn when 2 or more of your bazaars are on the game map, and we're going to gain the yellow crystal. So that is a second way for us to gain the yellow crystal if we're not coming over here to the center of the map. Okay, that's quite nice. So we need to build 2 bazaars. Let's remember that and place the card next to the player board of the purple player. And we're going to move back to the orange player. The orange player is dying to show you how combat works, but don't worry, we're going to get there. First of all, what they will need to do is to start taking some initiative tokens. So they're going to resolve this action right over here. And that means that we're going to gain 3 initiative tokens. So 1, 2, 3 are going to move to this place. And then also we can buy more initiative tokens up to 7 for the price of 10 each. And I think that the orange player is going to buy 4 of those. I don't know if it's the right decision, but this is what they're going to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to move over here. With that, we're going to move back to the purple player. The purple player would like to start resolving this action, so that will allow them to gain again 1 development and again to spend 25 candles in order to get another one. The first development they're going to take is the warfare number 2, which allows them to take any 1 destroyer blueprint. They decided to go with the Golden Falcon blueprints, so let's place it next to their board and let's see if they will be able to build it. It's actually quite interesting. Now they're going to spend 25 more candles in order to take another development, and they're going to take the Warfare 3. So let's place it over here, and that will allow them to take 3 yellow resources and place them here, again just for the sake of the construction. And I think that you can see where this is going. Finishing with that, we're going to move on to the orange player. The orange player would like to show you something, so let's resolve what we have here. First of all, let's take the bonus of 10 candles, also 1 initiative marker, and also we're going to take 1 of these action cards. This action card is called Navigator, and we're going to play it before resolving a tactical turn. That will allow us to ignore the effects of the current event cards weather section for this turn. Okay, interesting. Then we're going to resolve the effect that we have on this tile. Here it says select a player other than the current first player and give them the first player token. So don't mind if I do, of course. Now this first player token is going to move on to the orange player. Then you're going to receive 2 action cards. So this is really quite sweet. Let's take 2 more action cards and we're going to see what they're going to give us a little bit later. With that, we're going to go back to the purple player and they would like to perform a tactical action. They're going to take 1 initiative token and they're going to place it on their home tile. Pretty interesting, right? Why would they do that? So obviously they don't want to move back their any airships or something like that. We don't have their obviously combat, so we're going to go immediately to building activation. And inside the building activation, they would like actually to construct airships. So we can do it on a tile with our home base or with an Aether Forge. So obviously we don't have the latter, we have the former. And now I want to show you something pretty cool. So we have these blueprints of the Golden Falcon, and we can see that we need 5 red resources and 3 yellow. And we can see also over here with the warfare developments that we can use these resources only for constructing airships. So we're going to remove these 5 resources, also these 3 yellow resources. Then we're going to take the blueprint card, we're going to flip it to the other side. Now we can add this to the army of the purple player. And of course, we're going to immediately add the dice before I'm forgetting, right? So 4 shield and also the number 4 for the construction, for the HP of the ship. And we're going to take the corresponding miniature, we're going to attach it a base in our color, and we're going to place it in our home base. That is pretty sweet, you guys. I must tell you that this is not bad at all. With that, we finished with the purple player, and we're going to go back to the orange player. The orange player, as I've said before, would like to show you how combat works. They're going to perform a tactical action, but before that, they're going to play a card that we saw just a few moments ago that is called the Navigator. This card says that we're going to play it before resolving a tactical turn. Ignore the effects of the current event card's weather section for this turn. So this is pretty awesome because that will allow us to actually reload our shields. The thing is that while the construction of the ship, their HP, is not going to be restored between combats, the shields on the other side are going to be reloaded fully between combats. So now that we can ignore the effects of the weather, which told us to drop the value of our shields by 1, now with this Navigator card, we can actually put them back to 2. For the tactical action, we're going to place 1 initiative token on this tile, and that will allow us, of course, to move over there. So we're going to commit the Aeronautilus to this tile. And of course, before resolving anything else, we are going to trigger combat. When we're starting combat, we're going to take the Sentinel card that correspond to the ship that we're going to fight against, and we're going to place it in proximity to our ships, so that will make things a little bit easier. In general, when we're having combat, we're going to have a number of rounds. Now, the combat is going to finish when one of the ships is being actually destroyed. The player that initiated the combat is going to be the attacker, and the other player, of course, is going to be the defender. In order to resolve the sequence, we're going to have a few steps. The first one is that the attacker is going to roll dice and use surges. So let's understand what does it mean. Each ship at the bottom corner of the card has a symbol of how many dice they're going to roll and in which color. The attacker, as we can see, has 1 yellow die. So let's roll the die and see what is going to happen. Here we can see that we have 2 hits, but we're not going to apply the hits just yet. The second step in the sequence is that the defender is going to roll their dice and use surges. So here we can see that we have 1 yellow die and 1 blue die. Let's roll both of these and see what is going to happen. Here we can see that we have 1 hit and also 2 surges. Now, surge is what we can see at the bottom of the card with this lightning icon. Sometimes it's also going to appear on some other elements like action cards. The effect here says 1 hit that occurs only once per combat round. That means that even though we have here 3 surges, we're going to apply only 1, and the other 2 are simply not going to do anything. Now we need to apply the hits for both of the ships. So here we're going to apply damage. Again, we can take it only with the structure of the ship. And on the other side, we're going to apply 2 hits. And the orange player is going to decide and take it with their shields. That means that the shield now is gone. The 4th step in the sequence is to check combat status. That means that if both sides still have at least 1 airship or military building remaining, then we're going to return to step 1 for another combat round. So now that we understand how does it go, let's just do it again. So the orange player airship is going to roll a die, and we have here 1 hit and 1 surge. And now for the enemy, we're going to roll these 2 dice, and we have again 1 hit and 2 surges. Now the surge of the orange player's ships says that we're going to discard 1 exploration token in order to recharge all shields on this airship, but only once per combat. We're going to take 1 of these tokens, we're going to discard them back to the main supply, and that that will allow them to recharge entirely all of their shields. So we're going to place here 2. Now we're going to start applying the hits. So we have 1 hit for the Sentinel. That means that this is completely gone. And now the orange player is going to take 2 hits, 1 for the yellow die and another one from one of the surges of the blue die. So what they decide to do is again take all the damage with their shields, and with that, since the Sentinel ship was destroyed, combat is going to finish. When this happens, we can take the Sentinel control card and receive the loot that is written at the bottom part of the card. In our case, it says that the loot on kill is 1 Sentinel development and Ruma's blueprint. So that is pretty cool, because now we can take this card, flip it to the other side, and add this card next to our player board. We will be able to maybe try and build it a little bit later. The Sentinel control card, alongside with the miniature from the map, we can simply remove and put back in the box. They're not going to be respawned again. Of course, we shouldn't forget that now that combat is finished, we're going to fully reload our shields before we're finishing and moving on to exploration. Of course, we're going to also take our loot, so that is 1 Sentinel development. I think we're going to take this one. That will allow us to use 1 red die every time that we're fighting a Sentinel. So we can either place it here, and that means that the other development that we're going to commit to, we're going to start immediately from number 2, or we're going to place it here, and that means that the developments that we're going to commit on this side, we're going to immediately start from number 3. I think that we're going to simply place it in this location. Now that we have finished here combat, we're going to explore what we have here. So again, we know that we are with the Aeronautilus. That means that we're going to receive 5 candles. And we're going to remove this exploration token to our player board, and we're going to resolve the exploration. So let's take this card over here and see what do we have. The card that we have drawn is this one that is called Exposed Mineral Vein. So that means that we're going to either gain the tile's resources or 1 yellow mineral. Obviously, we're going to have here 2 of those resources, so we're going to go, of course, with the middle option. And on top of that, now we can actually construct. So we're going to construct here a turret. We're going to start getting a little bit close to the middle, so the orange player would like to secure a little bit their position. That is going to cost for them 2 yellow resources and 2 green resources, and they're going to take a turret and we're going to place them over here. Now, even if they're going to move away from this tile, they're still considering controlling it, because we have here a military building. And on top of that, we're not done quite yet. We're going to spend 2 more green resources in order to build another mine. So let's take this mine and place it right over here. And with this, guys, I think I'm going to stop the playthrough. I think that we've seen a lot of the basic actions that we can do. Of course, there's a lot more to discover in Sky Empire, but hopefully this video is going to help you, first of all, to understand how the game is actually working. And of course, in the future, I hope this video is going to help you to play the game. So thank you very much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope that you learned something new or saw something that you like. Take care, and I'll see you next time.